Okay guys, welcome back. This is another ROM overview. This of course is Dirty Unicorn. And this one here is for the OnePlus One. Probably you guys can tell by the sound. For some reason the OnePlus has a real tinny type mic sound to it. And I'm guessing it is probably the kernel I'm using. Different kernels I found in the past have some better sound quality to them. And just so you guys know, there was some more bad news in the OnePlus community. Mazda, who is the or was the maintainer slash developer slash builder of OnePlus One, or excuse me, of Dirty Unicorn, and who was building for the OnePlus One, has decided to move on to his newer OnePlus device. I can't remember which one it was right now. But I get it. I understand why he's going. Although I don't agree. I still think the OnePlus is a very viable device, um, and not everybody can afford to go out and get a new device. A lot of people are still hanging on to their OnePluses, and they're even doing like I did, which is to seek them out. I went to Swappa to get this one because I missed my first OnePlus so much. I had to get another one. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this. This is actually OnePlus One, or the OnePlus One device, and this is Dirty Unicorn. It's called Synthetic Build. Uh, and it is actually a very good build. It's one of the more, I don't know how to really put it. It is just like Dirty Unicorn. It runs good like Dirty Unicorn, and there are actually two builds on XDA. Two different developers out there putting out Dirty Unicorn. There is the Dirty Unicorn unofficial build, and this is unofficial as well, but this is the Dirty Unicorn synthetic build. And this is the one I'm going to do the review on today. As you can see, it is for model A0001, which is the official CM version of the OnePlus One. Android 6.01 is the latest security patches. As you can see, it's DU version synthetic v10.2. So that would be version 10.2 of Dirty Unicorn. I am running a custom kernel. I do not recommend you run a custom kernel with Dirty Unicorn. Dirty Unicorn's kernel runs very well all on its own. You don't need to flash a separate kernel. The only reason I am is because I'm running this in my primary spot on multi-ROM, and in order to do that, it has to have a Kexic hardboot compatible kernel, and the one that comes with it, or the supplied kernel, I don't want to call it stock kernel, the supplied kernel is not compatible. So I had to flash a different kernel, and I actually used the multi-manager app itself to do that for me, and this is the kernel that I put in, and this kernel is actually running very, very well. I really like the kernel. So let's get on with the device. Again, guys, I just want to stress one more time, you do not have to flash a custom kernel for this ROM to run good. The kernel that comes with it has been tested and retested and tested again, and it just works. The only reason I'm doing it, I'm running on multi-ROM. Alright, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go straight to the dirty tweaks, and that is where we are going to start. I normally go advanced, or your developer options, and then security, and then sound, and display. This is how I'm going to do it. Miscellaneous tweaks. You got your brightness control task manager, your toast icon, your flashlight notification, media scanner. This is basic tweaks. Your disable force close notifications, all of that. Then, of course, down at the bottom, you have your SE Linux switch option. This is where I switched over to permissive, and I have certain apps that I run that I need that permissive kernel, and that's why I switched it. I've had people argue with me that I don't need to do that. And I'm telling you, there are a couple apps I run, and I'm not going to tell you guys what they are, but they have to have this permissive kernel. So that's why I do it. That's what Android's all about. It's about choice. LCD density, you guys can change that. Although, if you do not know what you're doing, I highly suggest that you do not change the LCD density, or at least stick to stock values. Okay, you can get it to the point where this ROM will not boot, or it'll boot and you won't be able to see anything on your desktop, or nothing's gonna look right. So just make a backup before you do it. Okay, guys, but that's where you would do that at. We're gonna swipe to the right. That brings us up to our lock screen. Uh, this ROM is Dirty Unicorn has been known to give us both the middle and bottom shortcuts. This is where you're going to set them up at. We do have our lock screen wall config, which is basic wallpaper picker. Your alpha, which would be your transparency and all that. This is going to be where you set that up at. Then we have the lock screen notifications. You can pick and choose what you want to show as notifications. That is where you would do that at. Then we have our weather widget. You can set that up. I obviously already have got mine set all up. And then last but not least are your color and fonts. You can pick and choose what fonts you like. Right now I have Robo Light. There are a ton of fonts to choose from. So have fun with it, guys. And you can pick and choose whether you want your clock, date, and alarm to show, and the colors are on the bottom. The only thing I really would like to see them do with this is allow for coloration of the status bar. Again, I know other ROMs that do let you color the status bar, and they are not having any issues with it. It is what it is. I know some of the developers are going to tell you they don't do it because of compatibility issues with themes and other reasons. And I get it. I get it. I'm not even going to harp on it anymore. I just hate to see white in the status bar. Anyways, that pretty much takes care of the lock screen. We're going to go to the status bar settings. You do have your battery settings. Right now, I have my batteries shut off because I am running the 3-minute mod. Yes, you can download it from the Play Store. If you download the purchased 3-minute battery settings from the Play Store, it works right out of the gate. Or just install it, and you don't have to do anything else. Your very last battery icon you used will pop right up. You're probably going to have to change your size and settings because it goes to a default size, but other than that, it works very well. Then you have your show battery percentage if you want, and then the battery bar. And I kind of like the battery bar in the updated version, or at least in this version of Dirty Unicorn. It's kind of got that Pac-Man type battery, only not. But basically what this one does, it allows you to color it for your different battery levels, which I think is pretty cool. It's different, and I like it. Next up would be your carrier label. You guys can make your decision on whether or not you want to even put a carrier label in there. Again, that is entirely up to you. Then we have the time contextual header, which is one of my favorites. And underneath that, you have your switch to change that to poly if you want. Although I don't understand what people see in the poly. That is the standard contextual header. And if I switch that to poly, or the polygonal, it looks like that. Yeah, some people like it, so apparently, I mean, it's popular enough that they keep putting it in there. So, but anyways, that's where that's at, guys. Moving on, we do have the Dirty Unicorn logo, and yes, I will definitely run the Dirty Unicorn logo if they're going to give me an option to. The next up is, of course, your clock and date. Of course, you have the option to either show it or not. You can put it center, right, or left. AM, PM date, and your date style, and your day. You can choose to whether even show it. You don't have to have AM, PM, or even your date showing. Just a time if you want. And then of course you have your keyguard status bar clock. I do have mine enabled, although I don't know why I don't use keyguard, so I don't even know why that's enabled. Then we have our quick settings. That's up next. You have your quick pull down. You can choose from right, left, or off. I have mine on the right. Then the smart pull down. Then we have our quick settings manager. This is going to be where you can pick and choose what quick setting tiles you even want to use. And I think I have it. No, I didn't. These are the quick setting tiles I did not use. I'll let you look at them for a couple seconds, and then I'm going to try to scroll slowly and let you see what I do have enabled. By the way, the theme I'm running is called Glow. It's a pretty cool theme. I like it. I have um, the style, status bar, and nav bar all set up with the Glow theme. Then of course you can pick the number of rows you want. Enable the first row to be small. With the two tile or larger with the two tiles. You can change you can have a brightness slider. Show brightness slider and also show the brightness icon or not show either of them. And then you also have the option to vibrate on touch if you so choose. Next up would be your notifications. That is going to be your force close, your force expanded notifications, disable immersive mode, all that. And of course at the bottom, the very dirty unicornish breathing notifications. I remember them clean back from KitKat. I used to love them. Last but not least is going to be your traffic indicators. You can basically turn that on and have it show you your data coming in, data going out. You can have them both showing or have none at all. I would like to see that be colored as well, but I don't think that is probably ever going to happen. Under navigation, we do have the nav bar settings. You can enable it, or you can turn it off and just use the hard keys, the hardware keys that come with the device. That's entirely up to you. I think it's great that Dirty Unicorn gives us that option, and they do even include the fling settings. If you go to navigation mode, they give you the smart bar settings and the fling bar settings. Depending on which one you choose will depend on whether or not you can go into the settings. Right here are the settings for that. Contextual button layout position. I don't use either of them. I just use the standard navigation bars and all that. I do know that the fling, I've tried using it. I really just don't like it. I'd just rather hit a button. But it's there. I know a lot of people that use it. I know this is a very popular feature. It's probably one of the most requested features that people are asking developers to put in their ROMs. It's pretty cool. Next up would be your buttons. You can reorient, and of course, when we mean buttons, we're talking about hardware buttons, your volume, power, the built-in buttons. You can reorient the volume keys if you want, set them up for music control. Of course, we have the back button, home button, menu button. You can set them up for single tap, double tap, long press, all that. All different kind of options you guys can set up with that. Again, that's what's so cool about Android are the options. Options and choices. Under multitasking, you have the app circle bar. These are the settings for that. I am not going to show you guys how to do this. I show this in almost every video. I think that by now you got it. And when I say that, I mean I don't think new people to Android are watching any of my videos anyways. But it's very easy to set up. It's very self-explanatory. The only thing that I might say would be a little iffy would be your trigger position and trigger height. Just play with that until you get it where you want it, and Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. Then, of course, we have Gesture Anywhere. If you guys use that feature, here it is. There's all the settings for that. I don't use the Gesture Anywhere feature. Multi-window I do use, so I do have that enabled. Basically, that allows you to open up two different recents tabs. If you go into your recents, you'll notice that on your tabs, the square is not solid. It's actually broken. That means multi-window is enabled. If you touch that broken square, it will ask you where do you want us to put it, top or bottom, and you can make that choice. Then it will allow you to pick another one, and it'll throw it in the opposite area of the screen. So now you have two windows open, hence the multi-window feature. I'm going to go back into settings now. We're going to go back. Next up would be your Omniswitch. Omniswitch does work. I was playing around with it. That's where you would turn it on at, and of course there are all of your settings for that. Again, it's Omni is one of those features that just goes way back. It's very cool. It's very fluid. Really simple to use, and it is probably one of the most popular multitasking apps to use. Although I would say with the update to Lollipop and the Rolodex type recents, that is my way of getting around and multitasking, and it works great for me. Under the recents, you can have where you can show only the running apps. And then, of course, we have settings for just the standard AOSP recents, which would be this Rolodex type recents right here. And under those AOSP settings, you have your immersive recents. You can pick whether you want a default recent or full screen, stats bar, or nav bar only. I actually have mine in full screen. I like that. Of course, you guys can do with it what you want. You have your clear all button, and then you have the placement of that clear all button. I would love to see a memory bar for this as opposed to just a search feature in it. Then we have the Omniswitch recents. You can turn that on there. It's basically the same thing as we had under Omni. Then you have, of course, your slim recents. And basically, slim recents, if you turn it on, if I hit the recents, what it is just a KitKat style recents. Puts everything over onto the left side. I think you can even switch it over to the, well, it's on the right side. I'm pretty sure you can switch it over on the left side, vice versa. Those kind of recents, even though they work well, I just like the standard lollipop slash marshmallow recents. Last but not least, in the multitasking is heads up. Again, I don't run this, but the feature is there, and it's nice they give us the option. Although I think multitask or heads up is in pretty much every ROM out there, but this is where you're going to set that up, guys. Next up would be system, and first thing is animations. There are all your settings for animations. I would love to see scrolling animator in here. That's my favorite of all the animation mods or tweaks out there. But I've only seen one ROM that actually comes with that, and that would be Cyanide. The latest version of Cyanide actually has it in it, which is pretty cool. Then we have the expanded desktop, and what this does, it goes through your installed apps and says, hey, these are the apps that we see that we can enable into full screen. You have to decide whether or not you want it full screen. So that's what you do with this. Then, of course, we have our power menu. You can pick and choose what you want to show on your power menu. And then, of course, clean down here in the bottom, you have your or no, that is your power menu shown on the lock screen. They have on here advanced reboot. That's it. Make sure that you have this enabled. I want it to show always. If you have that disabled, you're not gonna have your you know, all these options to reboot into like recovery, fast boot, anything like that. You're not going to have those options, okay? And again, a lot of choice there. Awesome for dirty unicorns, but of course, they are one of the best known ROMs to have these custom features. Then we have your system app remover, and this is another one, guys. I'm not even going to open it. Just know what you're doing before you pull a system app out. All your system apps, a lot of them are tied together. You go deleting one, it has an effect on another app. And then what happens is your phone starts running like crap, and then you start complaining to the developer, and then the developer's telling you to we're not having an issue. Maybe you might want to reflash your ROM. So make a backup, and if you start having issues, reflash it or restore your ROM. Then of course you have your wake lock blocker. I use an app on the internet, actually a couple apps on the internet, interchangeable, to take care of this for me. Last but not least is your ad blocker, and yes, I do use this. It's actually ad blocker. Works very well. I think I only really have one app, that's Zedge, that really gives me an issue with ads, and this takes care of that very well for me. And last but not least, surely but not least, is your download center. Now this is going to take you where you can go download your latest G apps, stuff like that. The Tomahawk music player, if you guys want to try that out. I think I did a while back. And I can't really remember because, like I said, guys, I don't listen to music much, if any at all, on my phone. So it's that's not a good thing to have me test a music app out. That's about all I can think of. last but not least, the one thing I want to get across to everybody, um, with us losing Mazda, and like even Broken, not building for the One Plus anymore. Um, of course, that developer completely left Android. Um, you guys have to understand that these developers are doing this on their own time. This is not their job. They don't get paid to do it. This is a love of theirs, and they just like to do it, and they like to share. But when they start getting, 3, 4, 500 people or more downloading their ROMs and, demanding this or, saying that that doesn't work and this doesn't work, it starts to become a chore to them. Um, Show your appreciation. Go onto the XDA website or the Google Plus community. Let them know that you appreciate what they do. And by all means, give them a donation. I know Dirty Unicorn does not take donations. I get that. But at least give your thanks. Let them know you appreciate it. All right, now I'm going to show you guys the theme I'm running. It's called Glow. It's not a new theme. I've run it in the past. I don't think I've showcased it before, but this is Glow. It's a really awesome CMTE theme. It's as you can see, guys, it's a grayish theme that's got the block effects to it, kind of a 3D look, layered, and it's got, at least what I use of it. I like to use the status bar, the nav bar, and the style is what I use. The nav bar is on the bottom. That is from this theme. And of course the drop down, that is all from it. It's got that shadowy, buttony look. I think it's pretty cool. I just figured it was something different. I'd throw it out there, let you guys see it. It is what it is. So, okay, guys, there you have it. That is Dirty Unicorn. And of course, this is the synthetic build. So I'm just thankful that there are at least 2 other versions that we can flash, unofficial or not. I'll run them. So hats off to the developers for that. And make sure you guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I just want to say thank you again. Very much thanks to all of my subscribers. And I will see you all on the next one.